Last week, dozens of Canadian economists signed a letter in defense of the carbon tax. The letter says it supports healthy public debate, but it should be based on facts and sound evidence. We're joined right now by a signatory. Nancy Olewiler is a professor at Simon Fraser University School of Public Policy. She joins us tonight from Whistler, BC. Thanks for being here. Why was it so important for you to sign this letter?
Because we want to bring to the Canadian public the information that studies and research and data has shown that address some of the misinformation that is being spread across the country.
You say that, there's a lot of misunderstanding surrounding this tax. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm not here to talk about politics, but you just have. So it's an easy thing to cover. It's an easy thing for people who oppose the current government and its policies to pick on something that is visible to the public. The carbon tax is visible, but that's also one of its strengths. And one of the weaknesses of what policies that we're actually not sure what policies they're proposing because we haven't seen them, but regulations impose costs on people too. They're just a little bit harder to determine. So this is something that people can see and it can galvanize support. But we're here to talk, the economist's letter, we're here to talk about what the numbers really show, not just the rhetoric and the misinformation that's being spread.
Okay, so let's talk about that then. A popular argument is that if the tax on gas goes up, so does manufacturing and shipping, and therefore so does everything else. So why shouldn't people believe that they're going to lose money in the long run?
Well, let's talk about let's parse that out a little bit about losing money in the long run. First of all, there has been good research to show that yes, prices do go up. There is no question the price of gas goes up at the pump. The price of home heating oil goes up unless you're in the Maritimes where it's been exempted. But how much does it go up? And what are the other market forces that we have no control over that are affecting those prices? So let me give you an example. The price of, and as your reporter said, the price of gas in British Columbia, where I live, is high, and it has been high. But one of the reasons it's high is because of the price of the product. And that's because of factors totally beyond the control of the federal government or the BC government. It's cost of oil, which is set on international markets. It's the refinery costs. So the price of gasoline went up from $1.76 to $1.90 before the new increase in the carbon tax ever hit. And then the price of oil can go down, and then our price of gasoline will go down. So we don't control those prices. So that's point number one. Point number two is a study has shown that the increase, and this was done it was done by Statistics Canada and verified by a team of very respectable economists. The price of food attributable to the carbon tax has gone up by 0.3%. Now that's not nothing, but it is not doubling your price of food. It's not a 1% even price of food. So yes, it does flow through to some extent, but we're missing the point about the carbon tax and prices in general. The price is there for several reasons. One is to say, look, it is expensive to burn fossil fuels because it is contributing to climate change. And the costs to Canadians in the future, and even right now, of climate change are growing and astronomical. So ask people when they can't get insurance because of climate change, were you willing to pay another 0.3% for food to help fight climate pollution?
The Conservatives, and I know that you don't want to talk politics, but the Conservatives, did talk about this letter. They said that, when asked about it, that they won't be taking advice from so-called experts to listen, and that they want to listen to the common sense of common people. What would you have to say to that?
Well, I don't know. The experts look at the data. The experts look at the fact. When I have a problem that requires an expert opinion, like a strep throat, I go to the doctor.
Right.
And economists and the Congressional Budget Officer and office has had the same studies. So the so-called experts include a lot of people that are trusted to provide data and credible information. including our statistical agency, our Congressional Budget Office, and over 250 economists, many of whom are, consulted by the very people that are opposing us.
Yeah.
Opposing our views.
Yeah, and I know, so many of you signed this letter to try to really, get the message out about what the reality is versus what the rhetoric is. The debate is heated, though, surrounding this issue. We are, with an election roughly, a year, perhaps two or more away. Where do you see the future of Canada's carbon policy going? And is this a concern for you?
Yeah, Travis, what I'd like to see is us to focus on solutions. I'd like to see us, and if we focus on things, and I like to focus on affordability. So one of the ways to focus on affordability is to come up with climate policies, of which the carbon tax is just one. And the Premier of Newfoundland calling for incentives. There already are incentives. There already are carbon refunds to people. So I'd like to see us talking about things like ensuring we have enough electricity to meet our needs, because we produce electricity and then we control the prices. So if we're talking about affordability, let's talk about putting our heads together and working together to say, do we have enough capacity to power all of the things that we need? Electricity is essential. We can generate it in different ways, but we have to have it. I'd like to see us moving the discussion from getting rid of a tax to saying, what can we do to protect our children and our grandchildren and have the power we need and the new industries we need to compete and be prosperous and help well-being in this country? That's what I'd like to see. Maybe a little optimistic, but we have done it before. A very notable prime minister who sadly just passed away was one of the champions of environmental policy. Let's try to do that again instead of fighting over policy changes.
Professor, appreciate you being here tonight. It's an important conversation. That is Nancy Olewiler. She's a professor at Simon Fraser University School of Public Policy and joined us tonight from Whistler, BC.